Spark Film Show.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll move on to Suffragette. We've got an email in from Tabitha, one of our friends, who sent us about Macbeth last week.
Yes, she did.
So we'll get to her in just a minute. But Ryan?
Suffragette, directed by Sarah Gavron. Suffragette, I mean, it's one of those sort of pivotal historical moments.
Important.
Like, really, really
cornerstone.
important. I mean, especially for sort of the female identity, you know, this is one of the, like, it's probably, in terms of getting to where we are now in a social status, this is probably the most important sort of moment that led to true equality. You know, I mean, obviously we're not there yet, but I mean, in terms of getting the vote, that is probably the most important thing culturally for women that's happened in the past 100 years, you know. Suffragette, basically, we're following sort of key members in the early suffragette movement in the late 19th and early 20th century in London. Basically, Carey Mulligan is this. She's a wife and mother to a son, and obviously married to Ben Whishaw. She's Carey Mulligan's character is sort of working at a wash, is that a laundrette?
Like a wash house thing.
Yeah, like a wash house, like a laundrette, and she is basically. She's happy where she is, but then she gets caught up in an event where some of the suffragettes are throwing rocks through windows to cause social uprising, and she sort of realises that she can stand up for herself and be her own woman, and sort of get involved more and more with the suffragettes. She meets Helena Bonham-Carter's character, who was the great granddaughter of Helena Bonham-Carter is the great granddaughter of Asquith, one of the prime ministers who was during the suffragette movement. So she meets with their character. Edith Illen, who was one of the key members of the suffragette movement. She gets a chance to meet with Meryl Streep, who plays Emmeline Pankhurst, obviously the figurehead of the suffragette movement, and she has to avoid people like Anne-Marie Duff, who was really good in this as Violet, and Natalie Press as Emily Davison. They're all terrific. I mean, it's a fantastic cast. You know, for something that is so dark, it is so optimistic in just how. I mean, it reminded me a lot of Pride, especially the last 10 minutes. Just because of all of these people coming together for that one common goal, and I thought it was just absolutely terrific, especially because of that last 10 minutes. But it's such a powerful performance by Carey Mulligan, especially. She is by far the star of the show. She's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the expression she has on her face, you know, the camera sits on her enough where you can really see the pain and the anguish, you know, as her slow journey from being that comfortable live-at-home wife and mother, transforming herself into this, you know, realising, yes, I am a free, independent person, and I can do exactly, I have the right to have my rights, essentially. That roll off the tongue so well. But you know, realising that they're realising that she could be our own woman, and I've got such a crush on Carey Mulligan, both talent wise and, you know, but she's fantastic. Everything I've seen her in, she's just absolutely terrific. Also, I saw Far From the Madden Crowd, the remake, a few weeks ago, absolutely terrific, and that everything she's been in has been gold, and I think she's got a very strong career ahead of her. I haven't seen The Great Gatsby yet, actually, so I will endeavour to watch that. But yeah, she absolutely completely angers the film perfectly, and it really allows her sort of antagonistic sort of tendencies towards Brendan Gleeson's character, who was sort of the chief of police involved with getting the suffragette movement off the streets and stopping any more social rioting. And you really do get sort of the tense moments in the scenes with him, where you really do get the antagonistic feel, where she's sort of fighting against him and he's just calm and collected, but you can see he's breaking under the force of it, and he's not really a villain in the end, in the traditional sense.
No.
I think he's just doing his job, essentially. He doesn't want any riots or anything. And I do think Ben Whishaw as well is terrific as the husband of Carey Mulligan, because he really do, in the few scenes he gets in, you've really got that anguish of the man who doesn't really understand where he stands in the whole thing. But it's Carey Mulligan's film, and she steals the whole thing. It's terrific in what it does. It's a fantastic story. It's a very important story. I don't know how faithfully it is, but obviously there was controversy that it's all white women.
Okay.
Was that a big controversy? Yeah.
I've read something this week, last week. So we'll get that next week.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that next week. But yeah, it's a fantastic story, really well acted, nicely shot, and just a generally sort of really emotional story. Like, you really get your heart beating by the end. Just really uplifting.
Our friend Tabitha got in touch. She studied at A-level, the suffragette movement, and she said, as a person who loves history and studied the suffragettes at A-level, I was a tiny bit nervous about this film. Would it do justice to the women who fought for the right to vote? Will there be any hysterical inaccuracies? I needn't have been worried, as I thought this film was absolutely fantastic, a wonderful portrayal of the suffragette movement and the women in the movement. Carey Mulligan's performances showed transition of a working class mother who initially wanted to follow the rules into a woman who wanted to realised the law needed to be broken so they could change the world. Meryl Streep playing Emily Pankhurst was good. She was worried it might not work, but she captured the determination and drive perfectly. Treatment of the suffragettes was portrayed well. It had the right balance of tastefulness and intensity, and that's the point I want to get to. The force feeding scene, it's in the BBFC thing, so it's not a spoiler, although I think it does spoil it, because you sort of you see it coming, don't you? And there's like a mass walkout, wasn't there?
Yeah, at least 10 people walked out.
I guess they couldn't stomach it. And it is real. That wasn't a pun before you said
There we go.
That wasn't a pun. That wasn't intentional. It is really brutal. But Tabitha was telling me we talked about this and said, at her screen there was just a gasp in the room and just then stunned silence, and it was kind of the same for us, apart from the sound of seats folding back up. That was a bit strange.
A stunned walkout.
But apparently the actual force feeding was far more brutal than that. So maybe we got.
I think you got the point across.
And it is sort of really sort of stomach churn at times. You think like the equality, like it's so. Like to us it seems so obvious. Like why is it not a thing?
It's just it's equally scary to think that this was just 100 years ago.
I know.
Just 100.
And then of course the film ends with the list of countries where the vote is. They came in, and there's still countries now.
Saudi Arabia. Was it Qatar? Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia
promised voting rights this year,
but currently,
yeah.
And obviously, like losing the sun, that was a very powerful moment as well. It's one of them films. It's important cinema. So I think if you're interested,
it's interesting though for like a single story film to do like to get all the problems that women suffered. But
just talking about the force feeding scene as well. Didn't really get a chance to hear what Joe thought. So Joe, Suffragette.
I enjoyed it.
There we go. That's Joe.
This is the podcast bit.
Next week. We'll see you next week.
I couldn't really articulate near the end, but it was the single story. It is very risky to do it for these type of kind of films, for big movements. I think it was kind of successful. It was got a lot, like the child taken away scene, all that kind of shit was. They managed to tie. They managed to like there was a lot of sniffles like when that happened. Yeah. But they managed to tie it in very nice, like a lot of the women's problems back in the days, to just a single story of so it was very good. Carey Mulligan was really good in it. Direction was fine.
Yeah, no frills basically. I did it. As I was sitting watching it, I was thinking, it's.
Yeah,
that's how I would have done it.
Yeah, I get the handheld jittery.
Yeah, there's a bit where Carey Mulligan's like running. And it's like the camera's like pretty much like on her shoulders, like going up and down.
It's very it's very not impressionistic. Yeah, impressionistic because it's a very subjective camera, but sometimes can be annoying if overused. But it was fine in this at bits and bobs. It wasn't too overused, so it was fine. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. Yeah,
if enjoyed is the right word.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's weird. Like I get all the women's movement stuff and everything, but it's always been fascinating with me in British films, which. Do you ever like get the sense that there's always a revenge kind of thing? Like someone does something bad, and then it's extended. Like Carey Mulligan's character with the boss, and then when she puts the iron on his hand, like it happens a lot in British films. Yeah, it happens a lot. There's always like somebody standing up to somebody. It's strange.
Britain's just full of rages.
Britain loves it.
Yeah,
it loves a bit of revenge. Like. But
I liked it. I liked it as well. I think it told the story well. It's quite important, quite powerful.
I mean, what's the argument? Not enough. Like there's just all white cast and some other things.
I saw something about this, but I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, I haven't read a lot.
I think we'll read up on that and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah. But there is a lot of complimentary, things in Carey Mulligan's character being working class, not all middle class. So yeah, but I liked it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's an incredibly strong performance by Carey Mulligan, essentially.
And it's brutal to the point where it's like if they'd done what supposedly happened, where it was like vaginal, force feeding,
perhaps even Oscar nominated.
I don't. Well, British films never get anything. No, it'll get BAFTAs, but
it doesn't do anything for Hollywood. So
no, there's not much point for them doing it. No, it was
similar case with Mr. Turner. Did nothing for them, even though Timothy Spall, I think that was the best performance. Of that, not sure.
So that was Suffragette.
Who gives a Oscars anyway?
Exactly, it doesn't really matter. It's only to sell DVDs at the end of the day.
Palmdale, people. That's all that matters. When the hell is that film coming out? I think was it Diffan, something like that.
Diffan.
It's.